What's up, guys? So if you can tell, I'm up underneath the vehicle right now. Today we're going to talk about drive shafts and how to replace a U-joint. Now I am on this 2000 Dodge Ram here, up underneath it right now, two-wheel drive, and let's just talk about drive shafts real quick. Alright, so your drive shaft right here connects the transmission, the back of the transmission, to the rear end. This is what makes the wheels turn. So what you have here is this solid piece of metal. Some of them are aluminum, some of them are steel. This one's aluminum. You can tell, you just tap it, it's very hollow. So what you want to look for, guys, you have two U-joints. So the U-joint is universal joint. So you can see there's that one joint here on the front, and there's one joint here on the back. One way you can check your drive shaft is if you just simply grab and turn. And as y'all can see here, alright guys, so if you can see here on this drive shaft, when I turn, you want to listen and feel for any play. And you can see here, guys, when I grab this drive shaft and look at this joint, you can see there's a lot of play in here. So rotate it around. You see that? And you can feel it. You'll feel it going down the road. And if you look right here, you can see you've got a lot of play right in there. So this U-joint is bad. Now I've picked up a U-joint. You see some of them even have these Zerk fittings, these little grease fittings here. I'm not even going to bother with that. This U-joint's shot. But if y'all can see that, the play right in here, that's right in here, this one. So it's bad. It's shot. So what you do, you got 4 bolts here. You can see you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And guys, the way I'm turning this right now, as you can see, I've got the wheels actually in the air, so the tires aren't on the ground. I've got the transmission in neutral, and I'm just turning it. I'm just turning the drive shaft. You can also turn one of the wheels, and it'll turn the drive shaft also. But transmission in neutral. You can see I've got it on jacks. Make sure you use jack stands. It's not worth your life. And block the front wheels. I've got the front wheels blocked here also. So let's go ahead now, and we're going to remove these 4 bolts, and the drive shaft will drop down here in the rear, and then we can grab from the front and just pull out from the rear of the transmission. And some transmission fluid will come out. You'll want to be sure to replace that when you're done. But right now, let's pull this drive shaft out of here. We'll get it in there on the bench in the shop and see what we're working with. Alright guys, you can see here, I go ahead all the time, guys. If you want to work on anything that's been on for a while, you can see that's all wet. I just use some good penetrating oil and just spray in between these joints here and here to get down there to that bolt, and to help loosen it up, and that'll make it a lot easier to get out and decrease your risk of actually breaking the bolt off. Alright guys, and to get these bolts out, you can see this is on this Dodge, it's a 15 millimeter. So all you do, just put your box end on, crank down on it, turn it, put the transmission into gear, and this will lock it. You see here, if I turn the wheel, it's not turning the drive shaft. So this will go ahead and lock it in place. You can put your wrench on to break it free. I always take a wrench like this, and if you take a bigger box end, open end wrench, put the box in here on the open end, swivel it around. So put your wrench on like that, crank down on it, and that'll give you some more leverage. So you go ahead and take these 2 out. Then you have to, it's easier if you got a friend, but if you're out here alone like me, you got to get up, put it in neutral, spin the drive shaft around, put it back in gear to get the ones on the other side. Alright, you can see here, you pull this off the back of the transmission, this piece right here. First thing what you want to do, you probably have to use a hammer, hit on that to get it to loosen up. You pull this out, and you just pull the drive shaft straight back. You see this piece here goes into the transmission. It just comes straight out. Alright guys, so you can see here what I got in this little box. AutoZone, this Duralast U-joint, universal joint. You can see it right here, guys. $14.99. It has a lifetime warranty, so you can't beat that. That's, you know, it's pretty cheap if you do it yourself, like I'm doing now. If you took it to a shop, you're looking at, you know, a couple $100 for labor. But anyway, guys, you can see comes with a universal joint. You can see right here you've got some new snap rings. So you see these old snap rings that are right here, which we'll go ahead and take those out with some needle nose pliers. You don't have to worry about damaging them because we're going to throw them away and replace them with new ones. You can see here the U-joint it comes in, it says must be lubricated after installation. And the reason for that is when you have to put this U-joint in, you take these caps off. They're lubricated. You can see here you got your little needle bearings inside. They're lubricated, but you really want to use some good quality grease and go ahead and pack them full with this little grease fit in here. And you can see it's got some lube inside it right now, but we're going to lube it with some more once we get everything put back together, because you're going to have to take these caps off, put it all together, and then just go ahead and lube it up good. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead now. We're going to pull these snap rings out, and we'll start the process of removing this U-joint from this drive shaft. And guys, I want to show you something I picked up also from AutoZone. This is the Powerbuilt ball joint and U-joint service kit. So it's a 23-piece kit, guys, and they do this cool thing where it's like you buy it but you're renting it. You just give them all the money up front for what it's worth in case you never brought it back, but when you take it back, they give you all of your money back. So this kit right here, guys, was very expensive. It was about $225. So I'm taking this back once I'm done with it. As you can see, it hasn't really been used too much. It's a pretty new kit, as you can tell, but we're going to go ahead and find the right tool for the job here and get this U-joint out. Alright, guys, so you can see here I've already kind of gotten started, and as is the case most of the time when I'm doing stuff, everything is completely wore out and it's not a normal disassembly. This is kind of normal sometimes for a needle bearing to fall out of the cap. But as you can see here, guys, I didn't have to use any of the tools. All I'm using is this kit. This end piece fit perfectly into the hole, and this outer receiving end was big enough that the cap would slip through. And you want to make sure when you put this on there that this hole, that the edge isn't, you know, caught on the inside, so it won't push through. But it's pretty simple, guys. Like I had, you know, this is how it was. It was in here like this and like that. So like this. All I did is, you know, just cranking down here and just pushing it through. So as you can see here, you know, I'm just turning this handle and it's pressing this cap through. I've already pushed one side off. Then we'll take it again. As you can see here, I started here just to show you guys. You can see here how it's pushed in some. Normally that sits, you know, as y'all can see, it sat flush with the snap rings over it. As you can see here, I've started on this side, so pushing here and pushing this side through. We'll do that next once we get this piece out. Alright, guys, so hopefully this will give you all a little bit better example. So you see your U-joint here. As y'all can see, what I mean about giving yourself enough room to push through, you can see here where this cap isn't obstructed by this vise. So that's what you want to make sure of. So you can see it's got a straight shot through. And this is actually, this kit used a 22mm. So when I start turning on this, what I'm going to do is just finish pushing this cap through here. As you can see here, it's already come through some. So we're just going to push this the rest of the way out. And it'll take several turns. Alright, guys, so push this out, and you know your U-joint is bad when it's completely dry. You see the cap here that I pushed out. It's nothing but powder and rust in here, guys. There's no needle bearings left. They all fell out. This is nothing but just powder and just rust. I mean, it was completely shot. And you'll notice that when you're driving down the road, you know, and you're on the throttle, you know, going through the gears and stuff, you'll have just a vibration like a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, just like steady. You can feel it in the drivetrain. And if you let off the gas, it smooths out. Or if you put it in neutral and just coast, it smooths out also. But anyway, guys, this is it. Like I said, you know, you got these caps here. You see this one's got all the needle bearings in it still, greased up good. But like I said, guys, cheap. I mean, $14.99. It's got a lifetime warranty. You'll never have to replace it again. If you do, it's not going to cost you anything. So anyway, what we're going to do now is just clean up the inside of these holes a little bit. You can see I've got crap and O-rings and junk falling out of here. I mean, it's completely shot. So we're just going to kind of clean these holes out, and we'll go ahead and put this thing back together. Alright guys, so this isn't the best method, but just had this little piece of sandpaper laying around the shop. What I did is I just used it to kind of clean the inside of these holes, just to get, you know, it's any kind of like surface rust or any junk or debris that was in there, so just to get it nice and smooth. So we did that, and I just cleaned it out with a rag. I would suggest using some, you know, like I said, I got some penetrating oil here. Just kind of oil these holes up here and here on our drive shaft before we go ahead and reassemble this thing. It'll make it go back together easier. Alright guys, so wanted to give y'all a little tip right now to save y'all some trouble. As you can see here, this little grease fitting or Zerk fitting as people call them is coming straight out. Some of these U-joints, they'll have one where it's facing, either it's angled like here to the side, off to the side. Let me see if this one. Alright, so for example, you see this one? How it's on the side and it's not centered. So if you have one like this, you always want to put this towards the drive shaft like that. You want the side that it's angled on facing towards the drive shaft. Otherwise, think about it. This is going to be inside your rear end is going to be where my hand is. You won't be able to get a grease gun onto it if it's on this side. So point it towards the drive shaft. That way, when you're over here, you have all this room, all this free space. So always point that towards there. However, in the case with this Duralast U-joint, it's straight, so it doesn't really matter which way it faces because it's going to be straight. So what you want to do, guys, I know this looks like a mess. Like I said, clean these holes out good like I did. And I'm going to get in here with a screwdriver too and just get the rest of this crud out of the inside. But to proceed to the next step, you're going to take all these caps off and set them up so no dirt gets in them and none of the needle bearings fall out. And then I'll show y'all how you're going to start this process. Alright guys, so bear with me here. Stay focused. So you have your U-joint in. You're going to put it in, put one cap here over the end, and now with your vise, we're going to put it on. Like I said, the receiving end is going to go over here, and the other end we're going to press this in until it's inside a little bit, just recessed enough to where we can go ahead and install the new snap rings that came with this kit. So that's what we're going to do now. Alright guys, so here we go. We got a brand new U-joint installed. Now I'm going to show y'all how this works. Like I said, when you put your receiving end on here, take this in, put it right here. You're going to push this cap through. Now the trick is knowing when to stop. And I'll tell y'all how to know that. When you push this in, you can see it's recessed just a little bit in here. If you look, you can tell it is recessed some. That recessed portion and the area that we cleaned out with that screwdriver right in here, that's where your snap ring snaps into place. So you want to push that through enough where you have enough room to get your snap ring in, but you don't want to push it too far. But it's just knowing when to stop. So you have to, you know, crank it a little bit with the vise, and then I use a flashlight and I get in here and I really look. So I know it's just right, and I'll take this your little C-clamp off, and then put your snap ring in. And what I do, then is just rotate the drive shaft to the opposite side. And, when you would take another one of your caps, you put your cap in over the little shaft, put it straight in, and this, guys, it's probably 80 times easier to put this back in than it is to take it out. It was tough getting them out. I mean, they were so easy going in, it's ridiculous. But when you push it back through, you push it all the way in, and it'll only go so far once you get this other cap and the snap ring in. You don't want to keep cranking on it because you'll push it out and bend your snap ring, but you want to push it all the way in and then put your snap ring in on this side. Once you do that on the drive shaft portion, you take this portion and go ahead and put it on, slip it over. But like I said, you know, all your end caps are off when you're starting this. So you just put them on, put one cap in, press that cap in, you know, put a snap ring in, the same thing on the other side. It's very simple, guys. If y'all run into any problems, drop a comment down in the comment section. I'll be glad to answer it. What we're going to do now, everything's put back together. Like it said on that package, make sure you lubricate it before we install it. So I'm going to go ahead and show y'all how to lubricate it before you install. And guys, you can see here, this is the little grease gun. Put a tube of grease in it. You got a little handle that you crank. I've got two of them right here, but I also have something a little more fancy. It's this Lincoln Electric 18 volt, and I like to use this, guys. It makes it super easy. You just pull the trigger and it puts the grease in. So I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to pull the trigger, put some grease in this thing, and you don't want to put too much in, but when you kind of see it start coming out a little bit around the seams, you know you've got enough. Alright guys, so you can see, put some in, and if you look right here around these seams, you can see some of the clear grease that was coming out that we saw. Remember, we saw that before we put it in? There you go. So you see you've got this clear stuff coming out around the side. Let's go ahead and wipe. I'm going to wipe the excess off from around here with this rag, and we'll go ahead and reinstall this drive shaft. But we've got plenty of lubrication in here. Alright, so next, guys, you want to come up here to the passenger side of your transmission. You're going to see this screw here and this screw here. Look at those in relation to each other. So the one on the bottom is going to be your drain, which if you can't tell, the bottom's right here. The one up here up top, that's going to be your fill. So you're going to want to fill that. It's hard to get a funnel up under here to pour, so I'll show y'all. There's a siphon, a pump system that you use usually to change these, to put transmission fluid in. You have to pump it up into it, but it's pretty simple, guys. We're going to take this screw out, and you can see here it's like this Allen head. We'll take this out, and you just fill this up until you have the oil come to the top. And when you see it, you know, to the top, most of the time, guys, you're always going to put some in and it's going to start coming out. That's when it starts coming out, you know it's full, so you just put the cap back on. If you're really good, you can get it right up to the level and stick your finger in and check it, but hey, most of us, we're going to fill it up and it's going to run out. Then we'll know it's full and we'll put the cap back in. Alright, so came up here to AutoZone looking for some manual transmission fluid. They do not have Mopar brand, but they do have Synchro Mesh, which is made by Pennzoil. It's right here. So Pennzoil Synchro Mesh, and it's suitable for Chrysler, GM, and some Honda specifications. So that's what we're going to go with. They do not carry Mopar. This is the only thing up here that would work. And I checked out some reviews. It's supposed to be pretty good stuff, so that's what we're going to go with. Alright guys, so just left this store here. Y'all may or may not have a store like this around y'all, but I was able to pick this up. This is a 17 millimeter, so this is going to be for changing adding the transmission fluid. So this 17 millimeter here will fit the drain and the fill plug, but it's a 1/2 inch drive, 17 mil Allen. So do the job. Alright guys, so we're almost done here. Here's our Pennzoil Synchro Mesh that we just picked up. Here's our 17 millimeter Allen 1/2 inch drive ratchet. And here we have a fill pump. Now this is just, I picked this up, AutoZone. This is a performance tool multi-use transfer pump. So right here you can see, guys, you put one of the hoses in the bottom, one out the top, and just pump it. So we'll put this bottom one here in our oil when we get under the truck, and then take our top one and we'll just put it in the fill hole and go ahead and start pumping. Alright guys, so 17 millimeter Allen fits perfectly in this hole. We're going to go ahead and loosen this up, and then we'll put our tube in. We'll start pumping. Like I said, remember, when it starts to come over the top, the edge, it's full. Go ahead and put it in and tighten it back up. So let's go ahead and get this little bolt out of here. And this is what our plug looks like. So we've got it out of there. You can see no fluid coming out. All right, guys, so we're all done. Make sure you keep some rags handy, because guys, this is a messy job. You will have oil all over this pump. It will be coming out everywhere. It is just a messy job. There's no way to avoid it. So keep some rags handy. Wipe all the excess off the transmission when you get done, so you can tell if you didn't get the bolt in right, if it starts leaking. Make sure you wipe everything off good. And now we can go ahead and get all the tools up and let the truck down off the jacks and see how everything works. Alright guys, so just wanted to kind of give y'all one more shot of everything. So got the new U-joint in there, you can see it. And if y'all remember before, when I grabbed this drive shaft, there was all kinds of slop and play in it. I'm grabbing it right now, guys, and I'm turning, and you can see there is no wiggle whatsoever at all in this drive shaft, okay? I mean, everything that I have, I'm trying to turn it. You can hear there's no shake, no rattle, no wiggle. That's how you know your U-joints are in good shape. So I hope this video has helped y'all and been informative. Please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel. That helps me out to make more videos for you guys. As always, I'm Kevin Reese. Thanks for watching.